good afternoon, everybody. Just want to welcome you to Friday Club. This is the Chefs Forum CPD session. The conference has gone so well, better than we could have ever dreamt of. The level of interest across, I've just been tweeting about it, 17 colleges. You know, the last session saw 46 delegates across 17 colleges. This proves this is something we all want and need. We've got the finest guest speakers, the best teaching professionals, you know, all coming together for a meeting of minds to shape the future of hospitality and catering education. This is just the start. We plan on giving you full day masterclasses throughout the year. You can all sign up to. You can help tell us exactly what you want from future classes. You know, say that you wanted a whole day of sugar or a whole day of chocolate. You know, that's absolutely possible. Whether it's virtual or in person, we don't know yet, but we can do whatever we can, we will do to offer you the CPD ongoing, and also the curriculum enrichment for your learners. Now, I want to introduce you to Bijou, Joshua, but I want to just tell you something a little bit about when we did the event at the Sheraton with him. Have we got anyone from West London College on the call?
Denise is coming on, but I've just sent her the link.
Right. Okay. So when we did the event at the Sheraton with Bijou and James Dugan, who was the exec chef at the time, and Bijou, you were the executive pastry chef at the Sheraton. Basically, we took a load of learners in from West London College and them all in the kitchen with Bijou, James, and all the other head chefs of all the different concessions within the Sheraton, because it was quite interesting. They had like an Asian offer, an Italian offer. They had Bijou, who was the moving pick dessert chef of the year, very, very well known in the pastry circles. Yeah, and so it was just great to have so many fantastic chefs to give those students such vast work experience across all different culinary genres in the one building. So we had a girl called Chantel with us who was a level 3 student. She was also a single mum, so she couldn't do a normal kind of job. She could only work at weekends. And she impressed Bijou and the team so much that they offered her a trial shift there and then on the back of the Chef's Forum event, where she was just, you know, helping make all the canapes. And so then they took Chantel in and she ended up staying there, didn't she, Bijou?
Yeah, she stayed for around a year and a half with the hotel itself, and then I think she learned a lot during that time as well. And then it was a wonderful experience for her, because she had to she first thought it's going to be very tough, you know, because she's going to be it's such a massive hotel and with a lot of outlets and everything. She was so confused in the beginning, and then but I think James was there, you know, to guide her at that point of time, and then said, you know, that you will be only given sections by sections rather than, you know, like being all over the place. And then, you know, you could grasp very little. So rather than to start with a, you know, like an afternoon tea section and learn everything from there and grasp everything from there, once you are completely done, then you will be moved down to the restaurant, then slowly to the room service and like that, you know. So I think it's a good start for students as well, when you get to know a feel of the place and how the place is, and get to know the people around, and then even, you know, it makes you more comfortable, and then also to learn, because it's just a give and take process. That's why
I think it's really important to know that the work we do at the Chefs Forum bypasses a lot of HR departments. We invite the chefs into the college to teach in the colleges. Biju's been into West London College. He then keeps his eye out for little stars, then invite back into his kitchen. It's a win-win. It will you know, enrich the learning of your students and teaching staff. It also helps people like Bijou staff kitchens with the next generation of talent. So everyone's a winner, basically. And then when it comes to your own CPD requirements, you know, you could then say, Bijou, you know, Easter holidays, can I come and spend a little time with you, you know, in your new venture? And I'm sure you'd welcome the help, wouldn't you, Chef?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love to, you know, I'm still doing, you know, working, doing some development work for a couple of bakeries here, you know, just around London itself, you know. So I think it's a great time as well, you know, to like, you know, especially because of the lockdown, you know, you can, you know, get more time to just look at yourself and to develop your skills as well. I think it's a great time to do that as well.
Brilliant. So I'm conscious of time, and you've got some cooking to do, haven't you?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've put together. I think I've already sent a link and also the recipes to Alex, and also I've also created a video itself. So that the participants, whoever participating in it, in this one, they don't find it, like it was too much of going on things. So what I've actually done is I'm making a combination of three things. Because it was a patisserie or a chocolate masterclass. So I thought, instead of doing just one thing this time, let me do which is a combination of just the both. So I took bits and pieces of from both the things. From one from the pastry, one from the baking, and one from the chocolate itself. So I think it was better to combine all three and then create an element and give you and create something more unique, and which can also be used as a snack or any part of the outlet, during a breakfast item or something like that, to create something new and unique. So I think it was much more wonderful to do that. So today we are going to be making so I've named it as a brio mac cookie. As the name suggests, so it's a brioche. And then made with, so I'm also using Nutsella's macadamia nuts. So I've called it as a mac. And then there is a cookie as well. So we are going to be doing, we have to make these three elements. Obviously, it'll take a little bit of time. So what I've done is I've created a few of the elements, a little bit of the elements already before in hand. So just to, be up in time so that we have the finished product in the end as such, so that we will finish on time. So we are going to be doing a ganache today, which you can also use as a chocolate filling, or to make a bonbon. Today we are going to be doing a different application, doing a different application of it, using it as a pastry filling, and then we will be doing macadamia nut cookie, which we'll be using as a disc on the top of the brioche bread. So you are welcome to ask me questions at any point during in between. So feel free to do that, even whether it's out of the subject or anything of the pastry or baking as such, so we can do that. So yeah, I'll just change the camera to the.
You can always use the chat, guys. If you want to ask any questions, and the team and I will do our best to answer them as we go.
So I think you already have the recipes down there, So first we will be doing a ganache recipe. So I've got sugar, which we are going to caramelize it first to a nice golden brown. And then I've got here cream and liquid glucose already mixed in there, which you're going to heat up. As soon as the caramel is done, we are going to just temper the caramel with the hot cream. We'll be adding the butter. And I also have some sea salt in there. And then I'll be using white chocolate, in the later on, once the caramel is done. So you can also use a milk chocolate if you want a little bit more sweeter. Yeah, so I've used white chocolate, which is 34% caliber. And so first we'll start off with the caramel. And then we are going to be heating up the cream as well in the same amount of time, so that otherwise when we are doing the caramel is going to seize up. If you see that I'm not going to be using any water, this is a dry caramel process, so I'm not going to be using any kind of water to make the caramel to it, It just to reduce, like the water activity, especially if you're making a bonbon where the water activity affects more into the shelf life of the chocolates, So I'm using more of the dry caramel recipe. So later on, we will be moving down to cookie, which we will be just making a dough itself. And then we'll be spreading onto the parchment paper itself. And then we will be putting the topping to the top. And then later on, we will be just freezing it and then cutting out this of it. I've already made a brioche before in hand. So it just to, because the brioche is going to take you a little bit of time, almost like 15 minutes to prep the dough, and then there'll be a, so if you see the recipe card, so there will be a 2 hours of proving, once the brioche is done. So we prove it for 2 hours, the brioche, and then once the 2 hours is done, we knock it back on the dough itself, and we leave it in the fridge 0 to 5 overnight.
You tell us a little bit about your journey becoming a world-class pastry chef and chocolatier.
It was more of my passion and love that I had, So I started my journey in India working with the Taj Hotels. I started with them as a management trainee, and then I started with the Taj Hotels, working around with 11 hotels of the Taj itself, mostly into their luxury brands, including the Taj Mahal in Mumbai and the Delhi. So I was working all around in the kitchen. First of all, I spent a couple of months in the Indian kitchen, and then 2 years of my beginning in a European kitchen itself. So I think it was more of my passion, which I had for the pastry, So I just wanted to spend. I just fell in love with it, So the science behind it, So the lot of the applications and the things that you can create with it. And then I thought of specializing more into it, and then I took on from there, And then even if I had to just spend, even if my chef asked me to, no, you have to be in the other parts of the kitchen as well. So I just said, I love to do pastry, and then this is what I want to do, and I know what I want to be, So I had my goals set straight from there. That I just want to be a pastry chef. I just want to learn more skills and specialize more into it. I just knew that.
Brilliant.
You see here, it's a nice caramel color, and there's a little bit piece of what we'll do is we'll just let that dissolve, take it off the heat as well. We'll switch off the heat. I think the heat that is already there, that should be enough. A nice golden brown color. Our cream is already come up to a boil stage. We'll deglaze it. Just be careful whenever you add this. You obviously add this in stages if you want, just so that it doesn't flow over.
So Bijou, did you use do you use a particular favorite sugar, or just sugar from the supermarket, or are you a stickler for a particular type of sugar for making caramel?
I've used castor sugar. It's just normal sugar that you can get from the supermarket, and I've just used castor sugar just to make it easy, dissolve very quickly. But you can also use normal granulated sugar also. Yeah. So now our caramel is ready, if you see. And now we are going to add this butter and the salt in together.
Please. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, la, la. What's up, Beast?
Pussycat on the mic. Can we mute the pussycat just for a minute? We'll say hello in a minute.
See, that butter gives you a nice shine to the caramel, and also when you leave it to set, So what we're going to do is we're going to making a caramel, and then we'll add the chocolate now, and then we just leave it. It's best to leave it overnight, so that it sets nicely. And let the flavors develop.
Bijou, it's Debbie Sherman from Bournemouth and Paul College. Do you use a certain percentage of cocoa butter in your chocolate, your white chocolate, or does it not matter for this recipe?
See, I would have loved to use like a caramel chocolate, like a Zephyr caramel,
Yep.
or even a salted caramel from the Calabo itself, so just to
Yep.
enhance the flavor.
Okay.
But yeah, again, I didn't have it, so I'm just using the white chocolate to it. Obviously, it'll make it a little bit more sweeter, but then I thought, it would be a lovely touch to the, and also the vanilla taste will be nice touch to the brioche that I'm making it,
Okay.
So it actually matters what you want to achieve. It actually all depends on that, what you actually want to achieve from your product.
Flavor
So
wise.
if you want to make something like which is a fruity, like a fruity one, and then so obviously you will choose something like a fruity chocolate,
Yeah, like a
and
ruby chocolate.
yeah. So and
Yeah.
then you can obviously use there is from Valrhona a raspberry inspiration which is available also, which will enhance the flavor of the ganache that you're making. So it completely actually depends on the flavor that you want to achieve, and you want it actually.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So our ganache is ready. Actually, it'll take up to overnight, or leave it to cool down in the fridge itself. So to let it set, and then let the flavors develop through. And so we leave that to cool down, and then so obviously the brioche also takes you 2 days to make it. So obviously I made the dough itself yesterday itself, and then today I've just made the brioche balls and kept it to leave it to proof just now. So let's move on to the next one. So I'll be doing a cookie. So I'll be doing a cookie. I hope you can see. Just give me a moment. Just focus on the machine. So I've already weighed in, if you can see, so I've already weighed in my butters, unsalted butter, and then I've also taken as a crunchy macadamia nut butter, which I'm using. It's available. Yeah, just to show you that, so yeah, so I'm using some of this, so because I want to get that macadamia flavor into the cookie itself. So I've replaced the butter with the crunchy macadamia nut butter itself, and then used the brown sugar. Yeah, so it'll give you it'll really make the cookie a little bit soft. So that's why I'm using that sugar. If you do not want a darker color of the cookie, that you want, you can obviously replace it with a castor sugar or even a light brown soft sugar.
So Bijou, what gave you the inspiration to mix sort of a cookie with a brioche? How did that come about? Was it an accident, or did you?
I think I want to do something, because I was thinking, what actually to do, which is something going to be different, as compared to the usual. Usually it is all the classes that I've previously taken is usually chocolate, doing bonbons and creating shells and doing all that. I thought, this would be something more interesting this time, and to just do something which is quite different, So I wanted to try that, and then I gave it a try last week, and then I really liked it. So obviously I thought, you should definitely give it a try. And when I usually do the brioche number, like for sometimes, like the home bake and everything, brioche bread. Obviously you love the butter in there, and you have the brioche, but sometimes you just think that there is something missing in it, and you want to include something more in it. And then the idea of a filling came in, because usually the kids love the brioche bread with the Nutella in it, so or with a praline, something like that, So I've done it with a praline before, but brioche with the praline fillings and all that. But then I thought, it is nice to have a little crunch on the top, or even at the bottom, just to give like a shell crunch when you have it. and you can have all the combination of the three. So I thought, of, why not? Let's try this, and it should definitely work out. I gave it a couple of tries before doing this, and yeah, I definitely liked it. The combination of all the three, and then so that's why I thought of doing it. Sorry, the noise of the machine is a bit too much.
So is this something you've invented recently?
I've already added my eggs in.
Biju?
Yep.
Neil said, is this something you've invented recently?
Sorry, just I think the noise of the machine is a bit too much. Can you just repeat that? Sorry.
Neil Rippington. I'll hand back to Neil now because he can probably hear you.
I was just asking, is this something you invented recently then? Is it something since sort of lockdown that you're just
Yeah.
experimenting?
During the lockdown, I've tried a few things. So if you see my Instagram post, there was one. I was just just trying out the brioche fiate, with the different layers with the layer of butter inside and all that. So it was during the lockdown, so that you just want to do something, something which is different, and obviously you can try out all these recipes, when you are back at work, and obviously you can create. And like I said, I was just saying, like create the filling with something different kind of a chocolate, and then giving you a different, like I could have used a Zephyr caramel, which has got a caramel taste of chocolate, so that'll enhance the flavor of what you are actually already creating, so you have your ideas, you have your base ready, so obviously you can apply those ideas and create more into it.
So have you got any other delicacies that you've invented that you could share with us then since lockdown? So a good time to experiment and expand your repertoire.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to be adding I've already mixed in the flour and the baking powder. So I gave it a good sieve through. So that's nicely mixed. So we'll just mix it on a very slow speed, So be careful of not giving it don't mix it too much. You don't want the gluten to be developed. Just give it a light mix so that everything just mixes up. If you see that I've not mixed up anything, so just, you can obviously mix up. I've already got my chocolate ready. You can mix it at this stage and start, and you can give it a roll. But what I have done is I'm just going to be adding it later because I think it spreads more evenly, so instead of adding now, I'm going to be adding it a bit later. Also have some chocolate macadamia.
Biju,
Yes.
I've got a question about the nut butter actually.
Yes.
When using the nut butter, do you just replace the unsalted butter with the same amount of nut butter?
Yes, that is what I have done. But then just remember that I have not tried completely replacing it with the nut butter instead of the unsalted butter. The reason is this nut butter is a little bit more, the consistency it is not set, so it's a little bit more runny. So what the final product that you achieve is the cookie might a little bit more it might spread more, so you might have an issue with that, so that's why what I have tried is I tried replacing it with a little bit more butter in the beginning when I tried it before, but this time I've reduced a slight bit. So that's why if you have seen, it says 40 grams of nut butter with the use of 100 grams unsalted butter as well.
Yeah, I've got the recipe on a different window. So once you've finished, I can share that, and then we'll share the recipe. We'll send it out to everybody with the video as well. And Andrew's here from Macadamia. So he said that it's been a pleasure to work with you during lockdown, and that your
thank you.
savoury babka with our macadamia nut butter was superb. So.
Biju's been helping out with a bit of recipe development in lockdown 1 with nut sellers. He's been really, really great. You've done lots of lovely recipes, haven't you? The savoury babka.
Yeah,
was
did a savoury babka instead of the chocolate one, and then that was actually nice, I really loved it. And then I think I made it a couple more times, doing a pesto with it, and then it was really nice, so came out really nice. I have also used that pesto because I had some pesto left over once I made the pesto to do the babka. So I was just doing a pasta actually at home, so I used that pesto into it, And then I've also seen, now the nut sellers have lost their pesto actually, which is actually good, really nice. Brilliant. The macadamia nut is actually, like, it's really buttery and, really soft. I love it,
Oh, brilliant.
Are you on commission, Biju?
Yes, you see the £20 hanging out of his trousers at the back?
I wondered what that was.
So I'm going to be rolling it around like 3 to 4 mm. Yeah, so that gives you a nice like disc on the top, not too thick, but also not very thin as well, so that it gets burnt up easily. So only thing is that when you bake up, just bake it on a like a cake temperature, not like a brioche temperature. So what I've done is I'm just baking it on a lower temperature as we do the breads. So it is not a very high temperature. If you see this, so there's a chocolate here, so I'm going to spread it over. So it makes it more, for me, it's a lot more easier, when I do the cookie like this. So I can spread it more evenly. And then obviously, because I don't want it to be, the layer to be too thick as well, so with the pieces which is there, the chocolate pieces which is there, obviously, when you roll, it makes a little bit tough to roll between the sheets. So this makes it easier if you add it at a later stage, instead of in the beginning. I've also taken up the macadamia. I've chopped it up a little bit into pieces. Then I'm going to be just spreading that as well. Obviously, if you don't want nuts or anything, obviously you can obviously omit the nuts, and obviously you can change the butter as well if somebody has got a nut allergy or something like that. So just give it a slight push. so that it firmly just gets into it, you know, the nuts and the chocolate. And then what I will be doing is I'll be freezing this. Then we will be cutting out disc of it. If you see that's nice, and then you can also see that, you know, it is spread on so nicely and evenly. It doesn't have any that some sides have got more of the chocolate or the nuts or anything. It is spread off evenly. I'm freezing this.
Bijou, we have another question from Colin. Colin said that he assumes that you could use this cookie dough on top of choux paste.
Sorry, the different variations of the choux pastry.
He said, could you use this cookie dough on top of choux pastry?
Yes, obviously, yeah, you can, you know, but just remember, especially when you're doing a choux pastry, the steam that generates when you're doing a choux pastry, it is way too higher, you know. And then also the cookie dough will be a bit thicker, so it might lead the choux pastry to collapse. So it might not even handle so much of thickness to it, you know. Especially if you have seen the choux pastry with the crackling on the top. What I have seen is when the crackling that you put, it is similar to a cookie, like a crunchy top on the top. But if you have seen the crackling, if it goes a little bit thicker, the choux pastry kind of goes a slight, you know, oval in shape. You know, the rise of the choux pastry is not much. You know, the choux pastry has got much thinner shell as compared to a brioche dough.
Okay, thank you. Yep, that's great.
Okay, so what I have done is I've already cut out some. Cookie disc. So this is actually a 6 with a 6 centimeter round cookie cutter that I've used, but completely depends on what size you want, you know. And then what I'm doing, I'm actually using a if you see just into the oven itself, you know. So what I've done is that's my proving, you know. So I've kept a little bit of warm water here, you know. So inside, that's my proving chamber, you know. So actually, and then if you see, the brioche is actually nice and ready to be baked, you know. So I'm gonna be, let me switch on the ovens first, you know. So ready to be baked. So in the meantime, we can get this brioche ready to be baked. Yeah. If you see that the brioche, this is around a 55 gram dough, which nicely fits into an 7.5, 8 centimeter round the foil cup which we use, or a pudding basin mold, you know. Obviously, you can also use a muffin or a cake mold as well, you know, like or a muffin pan with a muffin paper cup. You can obviously use that, you know. Obviously, if you're using a regular muffin, you know, I will only suggest that go for a 45 gram, reduce the weight of the dough a little bit, just to perfectly fit inside the muffin cup. So instead of doing a 55 gram, do a 45 gram. It's the dough ball. So I'm going to be using this cookie disc. You might see that this is actually frozen one. Now there is a reason for that as well, you know. So when we actually bake it in the oven, you know, so the heat which is there, we don't want the topping to burn. Actually, we want the bread to be cooking as well. But then in the same point of time, at the same point of time, we want the bread to be baked along with the cookie. So what I have done is I've kept, this is almost ready to bake. So when the cookie start to melt and start to spread off, the bread is already start to bake off already, you know. So both are at different temperatures. The cookie is actually frozen and then the bread is ready to be baked. So I've set the ovens to 150 and it'll take you around 20 to 22 minutes. I'm going to be baking this into the bottom part of the oven, not exactly, but then again, it completely depends on your oven, you know, like how your oven temperature is completely. So use your settings for a cake. That is what I will advise. You know, use your settings for a cake when you're actually baking this up. And if you want, you can also do one thing is you can give it like preheat the ovens to a little bit high, which is 170, 180, and then as soon as you put the bread in, you can reduce the temperature. So it will help in the baking, you know. So it depends. You might have to see once, you know, how your baking works. Obviously, the ovens vary. So what I have done is I've already baked some brioche beforehand, you know, so which I will be using it.
Have you arranged for samples to be delivered to everyone straight from the oven? So we can have a taste.
Here, so I've got some here which is already baked. If you see, so they've got a cookie on the top and the brioche is there, which is already baked. So I already have some baked ones. So what we are going to be doing is for the filling part, we're going to be using like a you can use anything, either a knife, a thin pointed knife and everything. So we'll be doing a slight hole there, and then we'll make some kind of a you know, the hole to be there so that we can fill the fillings here. So it is something similar, like the way we if you remember doing an eclair, you know. So you know, just to do a, it depends completely how much filling you want, you know. So completely how much filling you want, or you know, like obviously here I've got the ganache which was made. So I made this ganache yesterday, and so if you see it has set off nicely. I'll just pipe you a few. If you see, you know, that the ganache is very stable, you know. So from a runny, so it you give it time to set off, and then it becomes a very stable caramel ganache. So we're going to be filling this with this ganache.
think you're making everyone feel really hungry. I know I am.
So we've got Denise back again. We have, haven't we?
Yeah.
Denise, can you unmute a minute, my love? Hello, Denise. Good evening to you. We were just talking earlier about Chantel when she went to do the Chefs Forum event at the Sheraton with Bijou.
Yep.
Can you just tell them a little bit about the result of that from Chantel's point of view?
Yes.
Bijou,
So
you weren't here when Bijou told us about, you know, what they offered her, but you know, from Chantel's point of view, how did that work out in terms of what you do with the Chefs Forum? Bijou?
yes, so we did a networking event at Sheraton Hotel, and from the back of that, Chantel was offered a trade test to go in and spend the day cooking with Bijou. She was successful with that, and I think from her point of view, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying, she's a single mum with a young son, and she thought that she would never be able to find work in the area that she wants, which is working in hospitality and catering, in the pastry kitchen. She just thought that the hours that were available would always not work around having a young son who needs to go to school. And actually, Bijou and the Sheraton were able to help her to be able to fulfill that dream and to be able to work there. She worked not only in the pastry kitchen, because when she was putting her post on social media, she was doing canapes, she was doing petit fours. She really, really enjoyed it. And I think that just opened her up to being able to accept and look for jobs in other places so that she could, hi Darren, so that she could, you know, fulfill her full potential and her passion and dreams of being in the hospitality and catering industry. So I think being able to be part of Chefs Forum Academy and get the students out into industry allows them to see that there are many different opportunities there for them. It's not just about being in the kitchen, working late. There's lots of other things that they can do around hospitality and catering. And I don't think they realize it. I think a lot of students, when they come to us, I just want to be a chef, I want to be a chef. But when they get here, they see what they can do for front of house. They learn about mixology. They learn lots of different things that then make them realize, actually, this is really good. There's lots of opportunities for us to do different things, to work in different environments, to travel. So yeah, really, really good. So
Yeah, I think, and also I think is that it's very important to enjoy, you know, especially as chefs, you know, it's very, very important that, you know, to keep that passion, you know, so to always enjoy what you always do, you know. So if you do not enjoy, you know, like what you are doing or anything, then it is no point of doing it as well. You will not be able to continue it for long. This is my belief as well, and obviously a lot of people agree as well with this one, you know. It's very important that you enjoy that what you're doing, you know. Obviously, then you will be able to give your 100% into it, you know. So we as chefs, you know, so we try obviously at the hotels itself where I've been working and along with the students and all that, always try to create an environment for the students, you know. Obviously, we understand what students come from, because I was a student before and I'm still a student, you know, and then I'm still learning. So we know what kind of challenges you face when you see a lot of people and a lot of chefs around you, that, you know, like you kind of get a lot of nervous, you know. So it's very important, you know, to let the students be at ease and give their best at the end of the day and enjoy what you do.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you, Denise. Thanks. Bijou, what are you up to now?
Okay, so what we'll be doing is I'll just do a cross section of the cookie itself, you know, just to show you, you know, and we are actually completed the whole thing, you know. So even the
Bijou,
other side.
I have a question for you, Bijou.
Yeah.
There was a question about the consistency of the ganache.
Yes.
Was that piping consistency straight from the fridge, or did you let it sort of temper in
No,
ambient temperature for a
so
while?
what I've done is I've taken out around 2 hours before hand itself and left it outside.
Right.
So obviously, if you want it more, because it's a little bit difficult to pipe, you know, when it is inside the fridge. So what I've done is I've just taken out from the fridge a couple of hours in advance and then put into the piping bag. So it's more easy to pipe with as well, and then easy to work with. That's the only thing. But then obviously you want your ganache to set or anything, you know, you can leave the end product into the fridge or anything like that if you want it more firmer. I love my ganaches, which is more a little bit more soft, and you know, which you can enjoy with, because the brioche is a little bit dry, and so you want the ganache to completely take it through, completely fill the mouth with that. So obviously I've kept it a little bit soft, left it at room temperature, so easy to work with.
Yeah. What we should do, Bijou, is have a Saturday kitchen where once we give the recipe out, we'll get all the
Yeah.
participants to make it, and we'll send photos in to see how close they got.
Yeah, good. That'll be good.
I've got a question, Bijou.
Yes.
It's Mark Cooper from the Manchester College here. You
Yes,
just
hello.
talked and touched base on passion and doing what you know what's best. Now, as we know, the industry is hard, as we've said, and
Yes.
we've got a lot of pastry chefs out there. But when it comes to the qualifications, something what I've racking my head around is when new qualifications come out, like the T levels, and you don't have a specific patisserie qualification out there. What can you advise, or what could you advise to, like, say, how do we push this further with the awarding bodies?
Obviously, it is like a lot of qualifications give you a push or to start with, you know. So like similar to me, I have done a degree in culinary management, you know. So once I have completed that, you know, obviously it gave me a lot of first it gave me an insight into the industry level itself, because you work on your internship wherein you are supposed to work with 5-star hotels, and not just one hotel but across 3 other hotels in and around the country as well. So first it gives you an insight into the industry, which is positive. So when we complete our degrees from the college itself, we are not like a stranger who goes into an industry. We already know the industry. We get a feel of the industry beforehand itself. So these qualifications obviously helps, you know, gives you a head start as compared to the other. Obviously, there are a lot of qualifications available now. What I have done is I've obviously done pastry courses, you know, from different chefs and different mofs and all that as well, to enhance my skills as well. I've done sugar work from Florian, you know, just learning a little bit of skills as well on top of the culinary that I have achieved, you know. Obviously, our industry is such, you know, like that every day is a learning, and we have to increase and enhance our skills as we go, and change with the environment, change with the world and that we live in. So obviously, if the culinary or if the courses that you give, or the courses that you give it to the students, obviously if it's adapted, I will say adapted, you know. So if it's more of an adaptive learning that can be given to the students, will be a great positive.
Okay, thank you for that.
I think, Bijou, one of the problems is that we have a government sort of initiative to push towards either apprenticeships or T levels, and you know, there are certain vocations that are being missed out and ignored, and it's not just in hospitality. There's loads of them across the board. So I think it was a great answer, but I think we also need to keep banging the drum and get industry and education working together to maybe save and stand up for some of these arts, because otherwise there will be a problem. Well, there already is a problem, but an even bigger problem in the future, where colleges won't be able to dedicate so much time to things like patisserie and bakery.
Correct.
Because
but then also I think things will a lot improve, you know, with the introduction of a minister of hospitality during this, you know. I think that there is somebody to voice our concerns and obviously give put our voice into the parliament itself, you know, to giving more what is the actual industry, you know. A lot of people don't even know, you know, what is actually behind the scenes, you know. So they don't know what is actually happening, you know. So obviously this will be
yeah, we need to get people together, the chefs forum, you know, shout for the minister, and try and persuade the the funding organisation, I say, but the funding mechanism to make sure that these skills are covered in the future and not lost or left to somebody else that's somebody else's concern, not ours.
Yeah,
but,
true. Correct. Completely
it's
true.
a great question.
Completely agree on that. So I would like to just
So
show
are you gonna slice this up and let's have a look?
Yes.
Oh dear, mouth watering.
Obviously, if you want a little bit of salt on the top, you can sprinkle that as a sea salt, on the top if you need. I've already included the salt into the recipe, so just to give you that a salt caramel taste into it, and definitely try it, and then I will say you're going to love it, and then even if you're just doing a brioche bread, just include this as a like an additional, it just try and do it like probably a day in advance, and then the next day obviously you're doing a brioche, and then that you can use this as a filling. It is really good. Try it.
No, I've got to say it's one of those things that I almost feel like I can taste it. I just can imagine how rich and delicious that's going to be.
Definitely it
You
is.
can sort of imagine those flavors and textures going together. It looks amazing. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So we sort of come up to 5:30 now. So I don't know if anybody's got any sort of final questions for Bijou. But that was a fantastic demonstration, and thanks for doing it in your own home, and to do something so complex and requiring proving and freezing and everything else. It must have taken you a long time. So thank you for all the effort that you've put into that.
It was wonderful, definitely. And then doing something which is more of a different, and my idea was just to be like, if you have seen, like Dominic Ansel, he created a cronut using a croissant dough and into a donut shape. If you have seen that, obviously it'll take you 3 days to make to that sort of thing, So obviously it is creating something more of a unique product, and then achieving something more. But then we already have got the basics. We already have got those basics. It is how we apply those basics and we create products with it. That is what is more important.
I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you so much. That was absolutely fabulous, and I'm going to go and buy my ingredients and start making it. Thank you, Bijou.
Thank you. Can I say something, Bijou? You're always a gentleman. It's always a pleasure to work with you. You're so passionate, and that's what I love about you. That's the right thing to communicate to learners. So I can't wait to see you again in flesh.
Definitely.
Thank you, Bijou.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
the compliments and thank yous are flying in here on the chat. So I think it's been a great way to finish the week. Amazing chef, just come in. Thank you, delicious. You've got some great comments there. So it's a brilliant and very, very positive way to finish the week. So
the other bake of which we actually did it as well. I think it's perfectly. You see, I just want to show you. I think yeah. I just want to show you. The other one which we have just put them in the oven. I just want to show you. Like that is also baked. I'm just taking it out of the oven.
Yeah, sorry.
If you see those, just taking it out of the oven.
Do you have enough mouths in the home to eat all these, Bijou?
Obviously, it will take me a couple of days, but then the kids are there probably. For them, it's not enough,
Lucky kids.
And just one thing very important, which I just wanted to share. I think I forgot to do that. You see that they are just done. It's a little bit hot, and don't leave them in the foil cups for too long. They start sweating. So just to avoid that, what we'll do is we'll just take it out of the foil cups. We'll just leave them to just cool outside, What we can also do is you have got you can make like a nougat, powder the nougat, and if you roll the brioche into a nougat and then caramelize in the oven for a couple of minutes, it'll give you a nice caramel color all over. Gives you a, when it cools down, it also gives you a little bit of crunch, which you can try again. Again, it's all about trying and using different methods, applications, and everything. Yeah, so it's all about trials.
Catherine again. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Bijou, I've got Gavin George from Coleg Gwent. He's asking a question about mould. So Gavin, do you want to come on, have a chat with our Bijou, please?
Bijou, I'm Gavin from Coleg Gwent in South Wales. I saw that you do some chocolate moulding as well, and using the sprays. What sort of gauge of needle or what sort of temperature do you need the cocoa butters to be to help it be as smooth as coating?
Yeah, so obviously we definitely need to, if you want a good shine on the molds itself, there are a few things which you definitely need to be taken care of. The first is your mold itself. It needs to be properly polished. So a cotton wool which doesn't have all those little fibers which doesn't come through, so use that. And then I use also isopropyl alcohol, which I wipe it into just to give it a proper, complete wipe through, which I do it in the end. Then that is just of the cleaning mold itself. So once that is done, your cocoa butter definitely needs to be tempered. So now when I say that, a lot of people will be asking me, like, obviously we do the chocolate tempering. What is cocoa butter tempering? So if you want a good shine, I will always advise you that do a cocoa butter temper, but then obviously try both the methods. Do one without tempering and do one with temper. You just as to see yourself, what kind of a difference actually it does make it. Now, when I say of cocoa butter tempering, how I generally do it is whether I'm doing it at home or anything, it's much more easier. So you have your cocoa butter colors, which is available in those 200 ml bottles, if you have seen. What I do is I generally leave them in a hot box, which is set at 40 degrees always, so I leave them there probably a day in before, so the next morning I come in and my cocoa butter is all melted already. So you just melt your cocoa butters to 45 degrees and then in a small pan. And then obviously just take a pan of cold water. I'm giving you a very simple method to do that. Just take a pan of cold water and keep your bowl of melted cocoa butter into the cold water and take the temperature below to 27, 28 degrees of the cocoa butter. Just remember that keep mixing your cocoa butter the entire time through. Otherwise your cocoa butter will set from the bottom. So just make sure that your cocoa butter sets completely through. So once it is at 28 degrees, you take it back and you obviously wipe the bottom of the bowl that there is no water and all that. Once you do that, you just lightly heat it up back to 30 degrees, so you take the temperature lightly up. So you have your beta crystals in it. So that's how you temper the cocoa butter, and then use that to spray your, if you have a place where you can store that tempered cocoa butter at that same temperature, it is good. But I obviously advise you do it in a very small amounts, obviously, whenever you do it, don't do a massive amount, and then because you'll not be able to retain that temperature. So if you have a nozzle, obviously, when you're spraying a cocoa butter, make sure that the nozzle size is 0.5 mm and above. I use 0.7 and 0.8 mm when I do spray my molds. Use the cocoa butter straight away.
Thank you very much.
I've got another quick question from Enya in the Limerick Institute of Technology. Are you still here, Enya?
Yeah, I'm still here, Catherine. Thanks very much. Thank you, Bijou. I really enjoyed that demonstration. I was just wondering, do you think that would work on a cupcake, just for something simple at home? rather than brioche? Do you think the cookie baked on top of a cupcake would work?
Obviously, I think it should work because if you see a cupcake batter would be a very heavy batter, but then again, you just have to try. Again, it's all about the trial and error. If you see you just have to understand everything that how it bakes actually through. How it bakes or the principles behind it. Maybe what you need to do is I will only advise you reduce the thickness of the cookie a slight bit, take it to probably 2.5, 2 mm, and then try that on the top of a cupcake. Why not?
It's a great idea you had. Thank you very much. I enjoyed your demonstration. Thank you very much.
I just welcome you, Enya, to the Chef's Forum. You're our first Irish college that we've ever had.
Thank you.
You're trailblazers, you guys.
we're enjoying it. Thank you very much.
Great to have you with us.
Yes, thanks. Thank you, Catherine.
Oh, it works great on a brownie, says Tom Everard Fairburn. Tom, unmute yourself, please, Tom.
Yeah, I've done that with a cream cookie and with an Oreo cookie before.
Hello.
So yeah, definitely this should work.
So Tom's done a lot of work with us with the academies, going into teaching the colleges. You've pretty much done all of them, haven't you, Tom? Really? Which colleges have you gone in and taught in as part of the Chef's Forum Academy, Tom?
All the Southwest ones now, I think.
You've done Western College. You've done Gloucester.
Yeah. The one I didn't get to do because of the when the lockdown started was the West London. I was meant to go in, and then unfortunately didn't get to do that one. But I think, and I haven't been to Manchester.
Oh, well, you can now with virtual sessions. We'll arrange for you to do one of these, and then Manchester.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Bijou's Dem as a fellow pastry chef?
No, I really enjoyed it. I've actually, it's quite funny. I was watching it as well. I've got a so for one of the YouTube videos that I'm working on, I've got a filled brioche as well. I did with a praline custard baked into it, and then a praline as well. So it's actually quite similar. So I was watching it and I was thinking, oh crap, I've got this thing that I've made to send over, but it's fairly similar anyway. But no, it looked really nice. I really like the caramel ganache. To be honest, I love that.
Will you be you'll be trying out Bijou's recipe, Tom?
Yeah, I'm gonna nick it. Yeah, no. I mean,
I've also done a video of itself, in case you have any issues, going back, because I've just done in a fast-forward way, everything. So if you just go to refer the recipes or anything, you can obviously refer to that.
Yeah, no, well, thank you.
You should charge, Bijou. You should charge.
Sorry?
Yeah.
For the recipe?
Yeah.
Ivan, stop stirring it up. Ivan.
I think there's going to be a new trend of these similar products flying around very soon.
Yeah, up and down the country.
Yeah.
Up and down, yeah.
Even over to Ireland too.
Stick a copyright on it, Bijou, quickly.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Well, that's fantastic interaction, everybody. You've all been a delight. Bijou, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
We're going to be doing more masterclasses next week. I hope you're all booked on. We've got a fantastic lineup, so we'll catch you on the other side. But Neil, if you'd like to just finish up, please.
Yeah, no, pleasure. I really enjoyed that, Bijou. As everybody did, you can just see from the all the comments and the great reaction. So that was a fantastic session to finish the week. So thanks everybody for participating this afternoon and being so interactive with Bijou. It's been great. So next week, a new week. So we're back on Thursday, 2:30, and Friday next week with the next 6 sessions to finish off the conference, we'll be sending out a questionnaire. If anybody hasn't been to a session before, we're going to send out a post-conference questionnaire to sort of gather up all the information. We're going to keep all of the feedback and the requests for visits, and they're flying into you, Bijou, at the moment. There are people saying, come to Loughborough, come to College Gwent, so you better...
Oh, definitely, I would love to. You know, once the lockdown is over,
driving around.
I think all of us have got a very long list to do. You know, like we have to do this, we have to do that.
Yeah. And then we'll take it from there for future sessions, which I'm sure you'll be a big part of, Bijou. So thanks everybody.
Definitely, I would love to be.
Catherine and the Chefs Forum for organising this, and I think we'll call it a close and have a great weekend, everybody, and see you next week.
Brilliant. You've been invited to Blackpool. You've been invited to Wales. You've invited to Rochdale. In fact, you're going on a tour. You're going to be Bijou on tour.
Oh, that's good.
And
the Chefs Forum Roadshow.
And we'll send out the video and the recipe. I saw the recipe come up in the chat, but if we had more time, we were going to show the video and the recipe as well. But we'll make sure that everybody gets that as a link.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I think you'll be doing more stops than Santa at this rate. But there you go. No, it's great to see you, Bijou. Great to see you, everyone. And by all means, any queries or questions or any intros to Bijou, will definitely oblige.
Definitely, yes, yeah. If you have any questions, first of all, thanks a lot, Catherine and Alex and Nick, for organizing such a wonderful event, and obviously to meet everyone and to interact with everyone. Obviously, it would have been, you know, like, I mean, it is also a great platform here, right? I mean, nobody would have imagined, you know, like a year back or so, doing this in such a different format. And then also, again, we have done our best, and then we'll keep doing so. It's only that at this time, everyone stay strong and be safe. That's more important right now. So have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bijou. What a lovely sentiment to end the session. I will see you all next week, guys. Have a lovely weekend. Take care.
Cheers, thanks, Catherine.
Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Catherine. Oh, okay. Can I just say something before Chef's Forum? You go. When Neil is talking, is very. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
When Neil is talking, is very very low, the sound.
I know, we're trying to sort it out. He's had some issues with his internet, and he's had to use his hotspot on his computer, and I think that's not helping. So
okay.
Yeah, no, we did try earlier. It was better earlier, but I think he's had some issues with Wi-Fi and things, and I don't think he's had the actual main computer he was going to use. So yeah, we'll try and rectify that for next week.
It's fantastic. Bijou again, lovely to see you.
And we'll see you again soon, and hold this lockdown finish up soon.
You know, I've got an idea. We do a road show, little and large, on the motorbike, like the other two do, and we go around the country. Anyway, you take care, all of you.
Thank you, Bijou. Thank you, man. Take care. Bye.
Bye.